Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma and today we're visiting a cemetery in Redmond, Oregon. This is the Redmond Memorial Cemetery, and there's a little bit of a discrepancy of when it was established because there's a story about a baby being buried here in the early 1900s. And the story says that a local pastor discovered or was told that the baby died. He cleared the land and dedicated the area for this very first burial in the area. But then there's markers predating the death of that baby. So the very first woman burial that's listed on Find a Grave is Mrs. Foster, and so we're looking for her marker that she shares with her husband, and we're just here enjoying the beautiful day. It's early in the morning. It is a really beautiful cemetery. The old section is done so well. They've laid out, it's clear that this cemetery was intentional from the very beginning, because even the old section is all perfectly lined up, and even the trees are in line with the headstones. So maintenance is super easy, which makes the cemetery grounds look really beautiful because it's super easy to take care of. So the cemetery was, it was first established by this pastor, and then quickly, within a decade, the city purchased it for $10 in the early 1900s. I think it was 1919. I'll double check. They purchased it and they still maintain it. So this is a cemetery ran by the city of Redmond and the county of Deschutes in Oregon. And you could tell that it's a little bit more governed than some of our more private cemeteries that we visit, so or privately ran cemeteries that we visit. Anyway, we're just gonna keep looking for Mrs. Foster, and we'll just share some photos and videos of the area. There's a really beautiful memorial, Veterans Memorial, and yeah, the trees are just absolutely gorgeous. So let's just take a look around. convenient when there's a map available to the public. It's not always clear how to read it, but these are all the burials. Looks like they have put them in alphabetical order, and so we're looking for Foster. So we've got Forrest, Harriet, and Herbert Foster. Harriet is 127.7. Okay. So let's see if on the other side, then there is all the plots. So 127. There's the 90s. There's the hundreds. Okay. Oh, over here. 127. 127.9. Oh, there she is. 7. Okay. So. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So we are way down here. So we're gonna walk down this road, past the infant section, go around the corner, and then we'll count. What'd you say? 8 or 9?
9, 8, 9.
Plots down, and we'll find her. So, what does this say? See, here's the story that says. Oh, there's a little duck behind me. Oh, it just disappeared. There's like a river that runs around the perimeter of this whole city, really. All right, so this says, as you will notice, the lots do not run in numerical sequence. The numbering was done year by year as the cemetery grew, and also in consideration of the site topography. The first burial in the cemetery was infant Lewis Clark Eby in 1906. The need to bury the infant was the motivation for establishing the cemetery. But you will see that when we go visit Mrs. Foster, she died before 1906. Plots located in the infant section of the old cemetery divided into 4 sections labeled with the lot number, plot number, and direction. The cemetery is maintained by the City of Redmond's Public Works Department, and the city appreciates volunteers that assist with caring for the headstones and landscaping. City sexton is available to help you locate grave sites and can be contacted through the Works Department. Cool. All right. Okay, we're at the end of the road. This is the infant section here. You can see the curve in the road here. You know what I didn't count is how many in. 2 in.
Yeah.
Oh, I see them. Fosters right there.
I try.
Or possibly. Anyways, I see some Fosters. So, yeah, there they are. Harriet and Charles. So, I'm finding a grave anyways. This is the first burial listed, and it's a woman, Harriet. Died in 1895. Now, if the story of that's being held by the by the articles and by the plaque that we just read, maybe Harriet isn't buried here and just her name is honored if she was buried somewhere else. I have no idea, obviously.
Why?
Because it says that the very first burial is 1906.
Oh.
And this is clearly before, a decade before that. So, and I find it hard to believe that there was nobody buried between 1895 and 1906. So yeah. I wonder if it was just the section that the baby was buried in was like new, and then they combined, you know, where these people were buried and wherever the baby was buried. I have no idea. Honestly, have no idea, but I'd like to just honor Harriet Foster for being in this area back in the 1800s because it's a rough world. These women followed their husbands out here, and let me tell you, right now you're seeing beautiful landscapes and sprinklers that give this cemetery green grass. But let's look up on this hill right behind us. This is the native grounds of this area. It is dry, it is hot, and there is a river, but there's nothing for miles and miles around that river except these lava rocks, sagebrush, and those trees aren't very tall. It's just open blue skies and 100-degree weather all summer long. They didn't have air conditioning and indoor plumbing. So I commend these women and the men who were here living at that time, chose to make this their home. All right, after looking around the headstones of the Fosters, just to kind of get my bearings about what's going on around here and why there's so many stories about the baby being the first burial, and she was buried or died 10 years before. The rest of the headstones around here are all the death dates are in the early 1940s, including Charles Foster, the husband. So I feel like most likely her name was put on his headstone in memory of, so that, and possibly he had her urn, but that's very unlikely from the late 1800s that they would have the cremation urn. But you know, maybe more likely they just put her name on the headstone in honor of her life and her life with her husband, because all the rest of these burials in this section are from the 1940s. So that just kind of tells me that most likely she was not buried here, and she's just honored in name. All right, here is the baby, Lewis Clark Eby, son of E.M. and Lottie Eby, died in July of 1906. He was 9 months and 18 days. And right over here is Ezra M. and Lottie C. Eby, the parents. I was looking in the general area to see if I could find Caroline Malarkey, who was the actual first burial. Carolina Wilburn. 1906, October. Oh, this is the second woman burial, so Malarkey's probably really close. Here's another Eby. Family stayed in the area, it looks like. Well, I'm kind of out of time to look for any more headstones, so at least there's the second woman burial, and buried right next to the first burial, and she died in October, whereas the first woman burial died in July of the same year, 1906. So I was assuming that she would be really close by, and it's, you know, it is likely that maybe she doesn't have a headstone. I don't know. Although I saw one on Find a Grave, so that doesn't make sense. Okay, I tried. I tried. We gotta. That is gonna be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you shared a little piece and have a good reminder that now is the time to celebrate your life. And I hope that you are. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.